Well, a budget is ultimately the P&L or an income statement of the government. So, what are the key numbers that you will watch in that full income statement? The first number that we would watch out for is the GDP growth. Okay, it's the nominal GDP growth, not real GDP, because all the tax, deficit, everything is based on how much the economy grows. We have to look for the nominal GDP. Nominal GDP is the real GDP, the 5, 6, 7% we normally talk about, plus inflation. That gives you the nominal GDP. Now, the nominal GDP is, when I asked the economists, I got a wide poll that next year nominal GDP may grow anything between 13 and 17%. 13% has got some sacredness because that's the number IMF and RBI are forecasting. But there are some very important economists who are saying that actually the economy will grow very much higher in nominal terms because the base is low. Nomura is expecting a 17% growth. Most of the economists are converging on 15. Citi, SBI, JP Morgan. Credit Suisse also says 17%, but both Nomura and Credit Suisse say although the economy will grow so fast, the budget will not make such a tall assumption of 17% nominal GDP. It will more likely go with only 15%, says Nomura, and Credit Suisse says 13%. So let us expect that 15% is what the budget will assume. Now, just for comparison, let me tell you, 15 is very big because this year it is a minus 4.2. That's obviously because we lost one quarter. And even last year, which was almost normal, only 1 month went on COVID, the nominal GDP was only 7.2. So remember, 15% is also a fairly big assumption. If there is a 15% GDP growth, then what will be the tax assumption? That's the most important part. Nomura says that usually nominal the tax grows as much as the nominal GDP. That is called a tax buoyancy of 1. Now, Nomura is saying taxes will grow faster than nominal GDP. In fact, Citi is saying it will grow even faster, 19%, and on the street there are people who expect it to be even faster. Now, here again, let me give you the prior year examples. In FY19, although nominal GDP was growing at some 10% or 12%, look at tax growth, it was only 8.4. And then FY20, although nominal GDP grew at 7.2, look at the tax, it fell because of course 1 month of COVID. And for FY22, this is the poll we are going with. So why is the expectation so high? Because the base is low. Then this is the non-tax. Tax revenue is one part for the government. Non-tax revenue, nothing much to discuss. This is normally dividend of public sector companies, dividend from RBI, spectrum usage charges, etc. Nothing much to speak about in non-tax revenue. Let's go to divestment and therefore the full revenue. Okay, let's go to expenditure. Expenditure, both Nomura and Citi say the expenditure will be 10% more next year compared to this year. Now, this year also the expense is not very small because of vaccine related and all the other Atmanirbhar packages. So let us take a comparison. In FY21, the poll of economists, that is the current year, they say expenditure has grown by 6%, but normally expenditure tends to grow by about 10-11%. So most economists say that we can assume next year expenditure will be higher. When you say expenditure is going to be 10% higher, what is that number in terms of lakh crore? It is likely to be about 31-32 lakh crore. But that is not the total amount of money the government has to stimulate the economy, because about 75% or 80% is already committed. About 25% of this 32 lakh crore, that is about 8 lakh crore, is interest on loans taken long ago or over these years. Then there's salary, wages, rent. If you take out all that from 31-32 lakh crore, all you have is about 6-7 lakh crore to play around with various programs, infrastructure, education, health, vaccine. All that has to come in just the 6 lakh crore. It's not much to play around for the budget. And the capital expenditure is normally expected to be about 4.2 lakh crore. That's about 2%, a little less than 2% of the GDP. Now, that 6-7 lakh crore of discretionary expenditure, some of it will mostly go in these Atmanirbhar packages which were announced and which are continuing. Some free subsidy transfers, food transfers, PLI subsidy, MNREGS, more commitments to MNREGS because of providing a safety net, Health, vaccine distribution will be a big expense, which also will have to come from that kitty, and maybe some rural development and Garib Kisan Yojana transfers will be announced, because the farmer protest is there and the government may want to mollify the farming community. So there won't be that much available for infrastructure as people talk about. Of course, you can increase the deficit. Now, deficit this year is expected to be about nearly 7%. Nomura and Citi are having very different expectations of next year's deficit. Nomura says it will be 5.3% of the GDP. Citi says it will be 4.8, Credit Suisse going 5.2, but almost everyone is converging around 5.2. That deficit, which will work out to about 11 lakh crore. What is 5.2% of the GDP? It's about 11 lakh crore. Of that, 8 to 8.5 lakh crore will have to be borrowed from the market. And then old loans will have to be redeemed. If you count that, that's about 2.7 lakh crore. About 10 to 11 lakh crore is the total bond borrowing by the government that most economists are estimating. Okay, that's the borrowing. Now let's put all this together. The government's tax revenues are expected to be about 22 lakh crore, of which they have to, income tax, etc., are shared with the states. So central government will get only 15 lakh crore, or approx that number. Then there's about 3 lakh crore of dividend, non-tax revenues, spectrum charges, etc. About 2 lakh crore coming from divestment. If you can get more, good. If LIC, Air India, etc. can be sold. So total receipts for the government, central government, is 15 plus these two. That's about 21 lakh crore. Expenditure is expected to be placed at about 32 lakh crore. The balance 11 is the deficit. That is the 5.2% of GDP, 11 lakh crore, which will have to be borrowed largely from the system. This is the overall P&L. Finally, what are the issues? Because there is such a big deficit, will there be a COVID tax? That's one thing we will watch out for. Secondly, how will you convince the market that we are going to come back to fiscal discipline, 2-3% deficit sometime soon? So the FRBM Act and whatever is mentioned, the Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act, that will be closely watched out for in the budget. Some promises will be made. And then, if you keep on assuming, borrow 11 lakh crore every year, how do you pay the interest? That is the debt to GDP ratio. This year it's going to touch 85-90%. So to convince the rating agencies that we will bring it down will be another key point that will be watched out in the budget. And then, as I told you, about 6-7 lakh crore of discretionary expenses. How is it distributed? How much to infra, how much to rural development, how much to PLI schemes, etc. And finally, since you can't do much by kick-starting the growth with central government's kitty, can you do something by way of financial sector reforms? Privatizing banks, or many people are talking about a development financial institution. Any of these to, allow the private sector itself, private financial sector, to kickstart the economy, to give it some fuel for growth. Another point that we'll have to watch out for is what is the 15th Finance Commission's recommendations. It distributes the pool between centre and state. How it distributes can seriously impact the central government's expenditure. It can give it more money for all you know. So that's another point to watch out in the budget.